Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of This is the Complex.
They used sign language when they would talk about the mountains. And they said, they're stocky. And what that means is something pushing up from the earth.
So anyway, this is what I want to do with this video is, well, okay, let me rephrase this. In a previous attempt to make a video, I guess it was our connection. We have a new modem, but we still need a new router because my wife over here cannot get online, but one of us can get online at a time using my computer, but we both can't get online. Anyway, I tried to make a video about Okinawa, and it just lost the connection or something. But now we have a new modem, so anyway, so let's see here. Okay, let's see if I can remember the stories I wanted to tell you about. There was this waterfall. You went up Highway 1. See, I don't recall if it was before or after you turned off to go to Okuma. Now, this would have been on your right, because you're going north to get, once you get to the turnoff for Okuma, you went left. But this waterfall and pond would have been on your right, and it was either before or after Okuma. For some reason, I want to say it was both before and after, so therefore I don't remember. It was beautiful. I mean, you know, look, all of Okinawa was beautiful. And if that entire island was beautiful, but this particular location was even more beautiful, can you just imagine the beauty? Not as beautiful as my wife, but still, it was beautiful. But you walk down a little path, a short, I don't think it was very long, it was a short path. I don't recall if there was a car park or if you just had to pull off to the side of the road. Actually, last night, you know what, I was dreaming that either we found photograph slides or old home movies from Okinawa, and it was harvested sugarcane fields that had been flooded. What a dream to have. I just remembered that. I usually don't remember my dreams anymore. Anyway, so this place, you walk up to it, and I mean, it's like a tropical paradise, you know. I mean, it was just beautiful. And there was another place that I really liked. I liked everything on Okinawa, but, and you know, I could probably make video after video after video after video, as I seem to almost be doing, about Okinawa. And I only lived there for 5 years. But there was this village where they made a special kind of print. We used to have some framed artwork from this village. It's like they have a special cloth and a special printing method or something, but they only do it in this one village. And I think it was near this village where we went. My dad took me. If I went somewhere, it was either with my dad or with both my parents. And most likely it was just going to be with my dad. Anyway, and if you want to know my dad's name, it was James Connor, or Jim Connor. My mother was Sarah Connor. My dad was from Canada, my mom from North Carolina. But this cave, it was, I liked it. I mean, you know, I want to say it was unique, but isn't each cave unique in and of itself? You walk in, and there was a box, a wooden box, I believe it was wood. There was, I guess, a Buddhist temple somewhere in the area, because the monks would go in there and, you know, they open the box and there'd be a Buddha in there, and they'd put rice in there and incense. Which reminds me of another story. A neighbor of ours on Cleveland Court, his parents were Buddhist, and they had rice. His parents had a little altar in their bedroom, and they had a bowl of rice in there, and I ate it. Or at least I ate some of it. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I hope he didn't get in trouble for it. Maybe I wasn't allowed back in the house again. Who knows? But anyway, this cave. There was, when you walked in to your left, it looked like it would loop all the way around like that, and it had both stalactites and stalagmites in it. And it went around like there was another cavern underneath. I don't know if there was or not, but it just looked like there was like a tunnel that went like that. It was beautiful, though. It was beautiful. And there were, I forget which one that comes from the ceiling, stalactites or stalagmites, whichever one comes from the ceiling, there were those. But there were bars in there, like prison, like prison bars. There were like other tunnels that you couldn't access. And they had bars in there, and I was like, Daddy, let's go explore those tunnels. He says, Son, no, we can't do that. It's dangerous. That's why they had the bars up there. Maybe at the time I thought there was a prison or something. I don't know. And you know, because caves, and you have to understand this is like 20 years after the war, and you know, people still found stuff from the war. People were still being killed from and injured from stuff from the war. And anyway, so my step-grandfather, if you will, he was on the USS Texas on Okinawa. Our chaplain on Okinawa, Mr. Stanford, who was buried at Fort Sam Houston. I'm not sure where his wife is buried. I don't know if they buried her with him or not. Mr. Stanford, our chaplain, he was on Okinawa during the battle. It's kind of unique, you know. A lot of people, they go back to where they served. But anyway, so there was this cave. We didn't get to go exploring in it, though. Then I want to say this other place was north, past the turnoff for Okuma. Also on, well, this would be on your right again, like the pond and waterfall. It was really unique. These were Japanese hangars, reinforced concrete hangars that they put their aircraft in. It was, you know, at a certain point, I guess you'd say, during the battle, there was still some minor to moderate Japanese air strength, or whatever, however you say that. Maybe, oh, there it goes. And the Americans couldn't figure out where these aircraft were coming from. Well, there was a good reason they couldn't figure out where they were coming from. When you walk through there, you don't see anything but the hills. Well, I guess on Okinawa they called them mountains, but we have a mountain behind us over here. That's a mountain. Okinawa has hills, but to Okinawans, those are mountains. And
Is there a better explanation?
you walk through, I mean, it's really pretty. I mean, all of Okinawa is pretty. But, you know, they would build these hangars into the hills. And so, like, if American aircraft were flying over, they didn't see the hangars. All they saw was this beautiful valley or beautiful hillside or something like that. And, but, you know, to take off and land, they would land and take off in the valleys there, and so it just looked like a valley. I mean, you know, the Japanese were great at camouflage. But I used to have a book that actually had a picture of a Japanese, like it was a kamikaze jet or a rocket airplane, I don't recall which one, but it was just a big bomb, you know, with a pilot that sat on top of it. But it came from that area. You know, these hangars weren't very high, you know, and like I said, they were concrete, and you could walk in under there, and I mean, you could walk into it. But anyway, you know, I haven't taken my morning medicine yet either, so.
Headquartered in Dallas, Texas, 7-Eleven has more than 36,000 stores.
Well, I didn't know they were in. Me neither.
This $17 billion business in one man. The Baron of the Big Bite. The Sultan of the Slurpee. The King of
the boss.
Oh.
Goes into the store.
President and CEO of 7-Eleven.
So anyway, let's see. There was a movie I saw on Okinawa. Understand that those of us who grew up, at least during that time on Okinawa, late 60s, early 70s, we had the opportunity to watch TV shows and movies in both Japanese and English. So, you know, I would watch Speed Racer and Ultraman in Japanese, and then I would watch it in English. And back then, you know, I understood a little more Japanese, and I spoke a little more Japanese than I do now.
I started my first job,
you know,
delivering newspapers when I was 13 years old. You know, I've always thought it's important to work hard, and I basically worked my way up.
But, you know, I mean, you use it or lose it. Like, I took like 4 semesters of American Sign Language in college, and believe me, I don't remember 99% of that, because I just haven't had an opportunity to use it. And although I'm hard of hearing, I'm not deaf, so I don't.
I know the alphabet.
You know, I know them, yeah. But, and I think one reason I remember the alphabet is because I remember it. I learned it when I was like 8 years old or something, and where I was at, the Texas School for the Deaf was like a block away. And I actually got along with those kids a lot better than I did with the kids that I was with in Austin State Hospital. 72, 73. Yeah, that was...
No, this is 9%.
Oh, sit.
Stop.
One thing I took away from
Stop.
I don't remember.
Well, I really don't know.
But anyway, so...
in particular, I want to find out how the communication from our store support center in Dallas is flowing down.
I remember once we were either coming or going. This is when we lived before we lived on Cleveland Court. Our first on-base house, our second and last on-base house was Cleveland Court. As I've said in other videos, we always lived in civilian housing. We were always locals. It wasn't until the last year or so that we lived on Okinawa that we were American. You know, because before that we were whatever we were Spanish, we were German, we were Okinawan. You know, I mean, that was expected of us, to speak the language, to be a part of the culture. We didn't have to like everything about the culture, but you had to be respectful about it. But then you have to understand, my father was Canadian, my mother was from North Carolina, my father's parents were from Europe, I'm from Europe. So, I guess in modern politically correct terminology, we were a multicultural sort of family, although I wouldn't actually use, I shouldn't try and use terms like that for my family. But
my cover story said I used to be in real estate.
I loved Okinawa. I mean,
I've been telling my coworkers,
I'd love to take my wife over there. Anyway, so that's all I have for right now.